My mother scrapped my 18th birthday to calm my sister's meltdown, so I left without a word. What happened next? The family they called perfect collapsed into complete chaos. Chapter 1. The day my birthday disappeared, I used to think birthdays were proof that you mattered, not because of gifts or cake or candles, but because, for one single day, the world was supposed to pause long enough to acknowledge that you existed. I was wrong. My 18th birthday didn't arrive with balloons or laughter. It arrived quietly, like an apology no one bothered to say. I woke up before my alarm, staring at the ceiling of the room I'd slept in my entire life. The same faint crack ran from the corner of the wall to the light switch, a thin white scar I'd memorized over the years. Morning light filtered through the curtains, pale and uncertain, and for a few seconds I allowed myself to believe the day might be different. 18. A number people love to romanticize. Adulthood, freedom, a new beginning. I lay there thinking about how my mother had promised, weeks ago, that we would do something small but special. No big party, just dinner at my favorite place. Cake, maybe a few photos. She had smiled when she said it. That should have warned me. Downstairs, I could hear the familiar sounds of morning. Dishes clinking, the kettle screaming. My father clearing his throat as he read the news. Normal, predictable, safe. I got dressed carefully, choosing the shirt I'd bought myself with saved tips from my part-time job. I even checked the mirror twice, something I rarely did. I didn't want to look invisible today. When I walked into the kitchen, my mother didn't look up. Morning, I said. She hummed in response. Stirring tea like the day was just another box to check. My father nodded. My sister wasn't there yet. My stomach tightened. Do you remember what day it is? I asked, trying to keep my tone light. My mother glanced at the clock. Thursday. I waited. Oh, she added after a moment, distracted. Right, your birthday. Not happy birthday, just acknowledgement. I smiled anyway. I'm heading to work later, I said. But you said dinner tonight? She hesitated, just a second too long. Before she could answer, a sharp sound echoed from upstairs, a door slamming. Heavy footsteps. Then my sister's voice, already loud, already shaking. I can't find my shoes. My mother's entire body tensed. Here we go. My sister came down the stairs in a storm of emotion. Hair messy. Eyes wild. She was 17, only a year younger than me, but the house had always bent itself around her moods. They're not where I left them, she said, breathing fast. Someone moved them. No one touched them. My father muttered. That was enough. She exploded. She screamed. She cried. She knocked a chair over. Words poured out of her like poison, how no one cared about her. How everything was always wrong. How she couldn't deal with today. I stood there, invisible again. My mother rushed to her side immediately. Hands raised. Voice soft. It's okay, sweetheart. Breathe. We'll fix it. Within minutes. The kitchen transformed. Plans shifted. Energy redirected. My birthday slipped quietly out of the room. I don't think dinner tonight is a good idea, my mother said without looking at me. Your sister's not in a good place. The words landed slowly. Oh, I said. We'll celebrate another time, she added, already guiding my sister to the couch. You understand, right? I looked at her, at the woman who had given birth to me, at the way her attention never once returned. Yes, I said. But something inside me cracked. All day. That crack widened. At work, a coworker asked if I was doing anything special. I said no, that was easier than explaining how your own family could forget you without forgetting the date. I checked my phone throughout the afternoon. No messages, no change of heart, no apology. When I got home, the house was quiet. Too quiet. No cake on the counter, no card, no candle. My sister was in her room, door closed. My parents sat in the living room watching television like the world hadn't tilted off its axis. Happy birthday, my father said absently when he saw me. It sounded like an afterthought. I nodded. That night, lying in bed, I stared at the ceiling crack. Again. 18 years. 18 years of shrinking myself, of understanding, of waiting. Something hardened in my chest. I packed a bag quietly, not in anger, in clarity. I left before sunrise without a note, without a goodbye. They wouldn't notice right away. They never did. What I didn't know, what none of them could have predicted, was that my absence would do what my presence never had. It would expose everything. End of chapter 1. Chapter 2. The silence that destroyed them. They didn't notice I was gone at first. That part used to hurt when I imagined it. Now, it felt fitting. The house woke up the way it always did, late, disorganized, orbiting my sister's moods. My absence blended into the background like furniture no one remembered buying. My bed stayed made. My door stayed closed. My name wasn't spoken. By afternoon, my mother finally knocked. No answer. She frowned, tried again, then opened the door. That was the moment the house shifted. My room was empty. Not messy empty. Not careless empty. Deliberate. Closet half bare. Desk cleared. Backpack gone. No note. No explanation. My mother stood there longer than she needed to. Long enough for irritation to curdle into unease. Where did they go? She asked my father later, like I'd wandered off by accident. He shrugged. Probably work. That answer satisfied them for exactly one day. The second day brought discomfort. No texts from me. No late-night footsteps. No quiet presence absorbing tension. My sister noticed first. Why is their room locked? She snapped. My mother waved it off. They'll be back. But something in her voice had changed. The house felt louder without me. Every argument echoed longer. Every silence stretched awkwardly. There was no buffer anymore, no one to quietly adjust, to compromise, to disappear when emotions ran high. By the third day, panic crept in. My mother called my phone. Straight to voicemail. She tried again. Nothing. That night, my sister exploded over something small, dinner being late, the wrong tone, a look she didn't like. The kind of meltdown I used to absorb quietly, redirecting attention away from everyone else. But I wasn't there. My parents had to face it, and they weren't prepared. By the end of the week, the cracks were visible. My mother snapped more easily. My father stayed out later. My sister spiraled harder, angrier, louder. Without me, there was no balance. That was the first truth they discovered. The second came with money. Groceries ran out faster. Utilities cost more. Small things piled up because I had been contributing quietly for years. No announcements. No credit. Just presence. My mother sat at the kitchen table one evening, bills spread out, frowning. This doesn't make sense, she muttered. It made perfect sense to me. Meanwhile, I was learning what peace felt like. I stayed with a friend at first, then found a small rented room. Nothing fancy, just enough space to breathe without apologizing. On my 18th birthday, alone, I bought myself a cupcake. I lit a candle. I made a wish. Not for revenge. For freedom. 2 weeks after I left, my mother finally asked the question she should have asked years ago. What did we do wrong? She didn't say it out loud. She said it into the silence I left behind. The answer didn't come gently. My sister began missing school. Screaming matches replaced conversations. My father stopped pretending everything was fine. The image they protected, the perfect family, collapsed under its own weight, all because one quiet person stopped holding it together. A month later, my mother found me. Not because she searched, because she needed something. She stood outside my building, ice-tired, pride stripped away. You could have told us, she said. I looked at her calmly. You could have remembered my birthday. She had no answer. For the first time in my life, I didn't need one. I closed the door gently. Behind me, the light stayed on. Behind her, everything she called perfect remained broken. Not because I destroyed it, but because I stopped sacrificing myself to keep it alive. End of story.